All right, guys. So um, today's Zoom, I won't be going over like my personal chart just because I haven't had the chance yet to like sit down and seriously trade. I'm hoping that I can start next week. That's my game plan right now. I just have a couple last things I need to finish with the transition, and then I can start getting that extra content done that I told you guys about late last year. Once that is done, then that will be offered to you guys and see how that goes. But that is not even like I have all of the information. I just don't have any chart work, and I don't have it all put together. So just so you guys know where I'm at on that. The point of today's Zoom is to go over the website. I want to go over everything in the website. I want to go over everything in the Discord. Um, and then from there, tell you guys all about the new roles, what what the plan is, and then if there's any questions you have with that, you can ask me then, and then we can go over the templates that I gave you guys, and then from there, if you guys have questions, charts, whatever, then we can cover that afterwards. So, excuse me. I'm planning on putting this Zoom in the miscellaneous section. I'm probably gonna name it like Enduro overview, pretty much an overview of the Discord and the website from here on, or at least for this year, and we can update that like on a yearly basis. Just because, as you guys know, we are taking this program on a yearly basis. That's also why I kind of want to do the whole subscription thing now rather than a one-time thing. There's pros and cons to both sides, and I can definitely rationalize both ways. Like if you go the one-time payment, then right there's less risk of quote unquote leaks, and I technically get more serious people, but that's also very relative to the individual, so I don't think that's necessarily true. But now with the subscription model, then I can take this year by year, right? It's no commitment. If you guys want to leave, I don't want you here, if I'm 100% honest. I only want the people that are serious here, people that see the value in the group, right? And like for the most part, all of you guys are friends. Like if there is a one guy here, then he was probably referred to by another guy, which was referred to from another guy. So keep the network growing like that, then it should really create a pretty good space. And I mean, as you guys can see, there's been a whole lot more activity now than there was, let's say like 6, 7, 8 months ago. So I definitely want to keep this up with you guys. I want to see what just how far we can take this, because over the past, I would say 12 to 18 months, that's probably been the biggest jump I've seen with a couple of individuals. And that's mainly due to the fact that they were here probably from 2020, 2021. They took it serious for 1 to 2 years. And then now they're starting to see a little bit more progress. And then once you get that little bit of progress, it's exponential from there. Because as soon as you learn how to win a trade, then that's really the building block that builds everything with your trading. So yeah, with that being said, with the website, I didn't change much. I did change the phases. I guess just if I'm picturing the POV of, let's say, um someone who's let's say like not, or English isn't their first language, then they're thinking phase one, what is that? Phase two, what is that? I just want to cut that off and just make everything just look detailed and very easy to find. So if you're looking for the introduction, then it's there. If you're looking for case studies, then it's there, etc., etc. So not much has changed here. Not much will change here. There are some case studies that I'm working on with a lot of the EVs, and I'll come back to that with the roles, or with when I talk about the roles and stuff. But not much has changed here. I will keep this going how it's going, just because it's already a system that was already working in the last RCV platform, or in the last RCV program. Sorry. So with that, I can probably come Discord. Second, guys. Oh, that's cool. I just noticed that there's a way to add subtitles. Is somebody seeing subtitles? That's cool if that's possible. I don't know if Zoom can do that, or I might just be tripping. My bad. I just saw that there was like a Portuguese thing here. But yeah, onto the Discord. Okay, cool. So obviously, whenever anybody joins, we have this in place. Let me know, guys. Is this format better for you guys on whatever it is that you're watching, or is this better, or does it matter? I just don't want this to be maybe too zoomed in. I want to make sure you guys can see everything on here. Is this fine how I have it as this? Okay, doesn't matter. Okay, cool. Fine, fine, fine. Okay, so with the Discord, um, I kind of I want to say I didn't change the entire layout completely, but I did add a lot of features, and I did add a lot of details that I think we're missing with. Second, let me let people in. With the original Discord, I guess I just wanted to make sure that I added details, added examples, etc. Let me. Um, I kind of wanted to make sure that every detail was in place because you guys know one of my biggest pet peeves is, like for example, I don't want to be asked what an SE is if you have the information present for what an SE is. I don't want to be asked about a quote unquote announcement if the announcement was posted and I added everybody, right? That's kind of like one of my biggest pet peeves is that if it's there and you choose to not read it or you choose not to be diligent and then you still try to ask me to do it for you, that's one of my biggest pet peeves. So I try to be pretty good with adding all the details that I could possibly think of. So here, as you guys can see with the process, right, most of you guys in here have already passed through the first initial stage, right? This is the stage one per se, right? Let me, actually, we'll fix that up right now. Stage one and then stage two. Stage one is to set a foundation. Stage two is to start actually forward testing, stress testing, whatever it is that you want to call that. Cool. For the most part, stage one is just acquiring your definitions, acquiring your examples, learning the definitions, and trying to essentially um, get everything kind of just sorted out, get yourself sorted in, and now try to put systems in that will last for, let's say, you could take it by quarter basis, but we want these habits, these systems to go over the span of 1, 2, 3 years at least, right? So with the beginning of stage two, right, pretty self-explanatory, right? I want you to acquire data. I want you to be consistent with just doing a certain action. It doesn't matter if it's journaling, back testing, stress testing, actually trading in the market, right? If you can do all of them, perfect. That's the best, right? But I want you to do something all the time because I did notice this too, where I guess it was one of the downsides with the whole one-time payment is that a lot of people take their time and they'll take maybe 3 months off, 6 months off, a year off. And although you may need that to an extent, I personally don't think it's the best route. I just think you're killing time. Because, for example, I don't know if you guys take breaks during, let's say, the December, November months, but usually when I come back, like the first time I look at a screen, and if I haven't looked at charts for, let's say, 2, 3, 4 weeks, then I'm like, what the fuck am I looking at? Like I have to go review, I have to go see my rules again, I have to go see my models again, I have to get a refresher, and kind of just go from there. And I think that's more so because I don't consider trading to be something that's, um, how do I put this? Like, I don't think there are people that are born to trade just because fundamentally the actions of trading and the emotional side are kind of backwards to how we already are as people. So, because of my belief of fact that I don't think anybody is born to trade, I think this is an acquired skill. Um, then you have to keep, maintaining that skill over time. So I try to not really take too big of breaks, and even if I'm taking breaks, then I'm still looking at charts, even if I'm not trading per se. But I'm kind of always looking at charts, seeing what's going on, seeing if there's a model play, etc., etc. So that concludes the process side. Welcome. That's nothing important. The rules, please guys read the rules. The biggest thing that I do want to change from the original program onto this one is that I don't want any sort of disrespect. I don't want people to be made fun of in the group. And the second that I see this, like, it depends obviously on the situation at hand, but more than likely, like, I can kick you out, right? I don't need somebody who is disrespectful in the group. I don't need somebody who's making jokes in the group. Don't need that. None of us need that. There's a lot of people in the group that personally I really, really like how they carry themselves. Very professional, uh, just professional. That's the best way for me to put it. And if everybody can be like that, and if everybody can hold some type of standard, then I think the whole group elevates as a whole, right? Because especially just kind of outside of trading, outside of all of this, the main, I guess the most common trait that I've seen in any successful individual is their standard, right? There is really no difference as people. It's just they hold higher standards than the next guy, and that's why they're, where they are in terms of their status, of the money, of their personal development, etc., etc. So let's try to hold a higher standard here. Let's not make fun of other people. Let's be professional. Let's get that going. Security. As you guys know, the videos technically are encrypted, and I have a watermark on all the videos. With this, if you ever have any issues, definitely read this here. You could have a VPN. It could be a browser issue. But if none of these solutions here work, just send me a DM and we'll see what we can do. Announcements. You guys know how announcements work. Community chat, general chat, threads. As far as threads go, if you guys want me to add more threads, let me know. These are all the ones I can think of right now that are relevant at the time, which is prop firms, brokerages, crypto, future. Actually, that reminds me, going back into the roles. So with the roles, right? Obviously, the orange is the owner. That's me, Sergio, Alex. The executives are pretty much the admins from, excuse me. The executives are essentially the admins from the previous group that were transferred over onto the new Discord that are still actively trading, from what I know. The beginner visionary, these are the new people. We don't have any new people right now. The group isn't open yet. I'm still kind of waiting on a couple of things. With the visionaries, you guys know this is pretty much just typically just the traditional member in the group, which is what majority of you are. Elite visionary, this is going to be the big jump. This is pretty much me trying to incentivize you guys to take this seriously. The big thing with elite visionary, I'm actually going to elaborate on this. I'm going to add this on here with the guide with pretty much the transition from visionary to elite visionary. I'm going to give you guys a bit more details on this. And I want this to be pretty much incentivizing you to take this seriously, to try to meet that role, because once you meet that elite visionary criteria, you no longer owe me any money for pretty much indefinitely. If you guys are making money, like I said in the previous announcement, then look, I don't want your money, right? I want you in the group. You are an asset. I want you to, not necessarily want you to help, but if you can bring some type of value into the group as somebody who is, made it to that step, then that would be perfect. And I would greatly appreciate that. That's why I don't ask for any more money. I just want you guys to stay in the group, and I want that to kind of help everybody osmosis their way into becoming EV. So that's with that. And then also with the EVs, I already have enough right now. I think we have like close to, I want to say close to 15 EVs. But another problem that I saw with the old Discord is that a lot of people would contact admins, but admins would be a bit busy, etc., with whatever it is that they were doing, and they weren't able to really help with the one-on-ones or to teach, etc. So if you meet the EV criteria, then especially now after I create the whole new process, once that is done, then I will give you the option to become a teacher or not. And what that basically means is that people can contact you if they want to do a one-on-one with you, if they want to do whatever it is that they want, and if you want to charge them for that, cool. And I don't ask for any fees. All of that is your money. I don't want them. Okay, so success here. We results, recognitions, very good. I also wanted to kind of elaborate on these as well. Is that when you guys are making these recognitions, making these case studies, let's first of all let's go into what each one means. Right, recognitions, winning trades, losing trades. Make sure there's a difference there. And if it's still confusing, then I could always change the name. Um, but for the most part, recognitions is where you post pretty much a PDF or a series of charts of your winning trades, right? And case studies is the opposite; it's all losing. Set some examples in there for you. Set some examples. Good examples, bad example, good example, right here. These case studies, I think they will be very good in the long run, especially if we kind of stay up to date with the requirements for them. So if I ever see that an entry is quote unquote wrong or it's missing information, then I'll just DM you, hey, can you take this down and add XXX, right? So next, fundamentals. I'm working on implementing this more for my personal trading as well. Just because I guess if you could say the goal, right, for me over the next, I guess, 2 years is you guys know that we kind of transitioned more from a swing into, right, a type of scalp / intraday type of method, or that's kind of how I use my models for the most part these days. And there's plenty of reasons for that. I guess in summary, the main reason why I'm doing that is for win rate. The biggest issue with quote unquote 1 to 40s, 1 to 50s, 1 to 100 RR trades is that you're catching a scalp transition, right, on a swing bias, meaning that your timing has to be essentially perfect. And if your timing is not perfect, then right, the chances of you getting that trade is slim to none. But also, let's say theoretically we're looking at a type of major intraday swing scenario, and let's say it concludes at a 1 to 20. Right. However, with these quote unquote swing trades, quote unquote major intraday trades, you're more than likely having to scale out as you go through them, right? Because you're having to scale out as you go through these positions, right? There's always this whole argument about how if you catch a 1 to 20, then you could take 19 losses and then the 1 to 20 will recoup those losses. Well, that's not necessarily true. It depends on how you operate your risk management, because you could have a risk profile that resets every trade, every week, every month. But also, if that 1 to 20 is being partialed out, then even if you take 19 losses and then 1 win, then you're still negative, right? And you're not accounting for spread, you're not accounting for commissions, etc., etc. So I made it my priority to want to learn how to win a trade, right? And we can go over that more on Zoom, just because we'll go over that at the end, just because somebody asked me a very good question. And I'll come back to that. But yeah, for the most part, transitioned over to more of a scalp intraday because I want to catch a scalp transition and I want to target an intraday target, right? So what I would ideally want to do over the next 2 to 3 years, right, is to master the scalp transition or the scalp model into an intraday target. And I would also like to have, right, just full on swing models being pretty much swung on a separate account per se, right? Where I have essentially let's say a daily POI being played out, and that trade could take me 2 to 3 to 4 weeks for it to complete, but it's all completely on the background. I only have to check the chart essentially once every 2 weeks, maybe once every week, maybe. So, and the reason why I'm leaning to that is because there's this quote that I heard. This was long time ago. It's probably when I first started learning how to trade, back in like 2018, 2017 days. When I first learned or first started learning how to do this, I read some quote and it kind of went along the lines of you ideally want to swing a position and you want to catch the intraday positions in between that as well. So you're realistically, or not realistically, but you're ideally trying to quote unquote milk the market, but that's kind of not the approach that I'm looking at. I just want to make sure that if I'm swinging, let's say a Euro USD buy over the next 2 to 3 weeks, then what if my hedge is in between? And I cannot hear your audio. Can everybody hear my audio? Rupesh, that is an issue on your end, bro. You're the only one that can't hear me. But yeah, completely killed my train. But yeah, anyways, want to catch swings and I want to intraday in between that. That's kind of the goal. But yeah, that's with that. And I do want to start implementing fundamental analysis to start to help, those longer term positions. I'll add some more stuff here. I'm kind of trying to work on some stuff on the background, but we'll see from there. And then weekly reports. This is kind of Alfie's thing. He kind of goes over the Fed from what I know. And it's kind of more of his fundamental thing. I'll let him explain it on the next Zoom, if I can ever get him on Zoom. But for the most part, he's just kind of submitting these, right, to give you guys some type of information, some type of insight on the fundamental side, and primarily around the Fed. So next is tutoring. This kind of just stays as is. Yeah, Rupesh, everybody can hear me. It must be on your end. But anyways, when it comes to tutoring, nothing much will change. Like I said, right, the current list of teachers are here. If you guys want to contact them, then we will go from there. I have my prerequisites. This is all very self-explanatory. If you guys need to book a one-on-one, here is the information. Right, journaling. Right, here are 10 examples on how to make a journal. Here's the criteria for how to make a journal. Self-explanatory. I will start accepting these next week. Quarterly reports. Okay, this is one of the templates. We'll actually go to templates. So I made, 2 templates. Go ahead and go. Okay, so the biggest thing with prop firms, right? We have a couple of guys in here that are. Yeah, I know. I haven't taken an Excel class since high school, brother. Please bear with me. But hey, the equations, they're not too bad. Look, the equations are not bad. All right, we'll see. But yeah, I definitely need to touch up on my Excel skills. I tried to get the. I tried to export this to Notion, but the equations were messed up, and I didn't want to go through this all over again. So, there's a way to export the CVV or CV something. Yeah, right here, the CSV. Sorry, you can download the CSV values, and you can put that on Notion, and it can also transfer it over to Notion for you, and then you can just fix it up. So this is just an overview. This is not for you to use. This is just like an overview. Okay, so the reason why I'm looking into prop firms, literally the only reason I'm looking into prop firms is because they took off the time limit. I thought the time limit was absolute BS. I think it forced you to rush yourself to reach a criteria that is unreasonable, because let's say 10% in a month, on paper, that is absurd, right? To ask of someone to do that. And because they ask you to do something so big, then in exchange, right, you have to up the risk, quote unquote, up the risk to try to do it in less trades, and that causes FOMO, and that just ruins the psychology. And then before you know it, your account lost, right? That's why I told you guys that most of these companies, they're counterproductive to an extent, just because the only way the business wins is if traders lose. So it's kind of hard to use payouts as marketing for prop firms if the only way for the prop firm to make any money is for traders to lose. So I kind of didn't like that whole business model. However, now, because the time limit is up, okay, cool, then the rest of the restrictions, right, they're manageable, right? Because now that you don't have a time limit, you can drastically lower the risk profile. And with that, you can now kind of just do your best to not lose the account, win trades over time. And that's kind of my game plan on how to get those payouts, those funded stuff, and everything of such. So kind of like I showed here, I did the math, and this is assuming, right, that you change your risk profile every single trade. And what do I mean by that is, let's say I started 100K, I lose 1%, that plus commissions, I'm now at 99,000 or $98,980 or something. Then now my new risk profile or I mean now my 1% is less than is if it was 100K. Okay, so if I am to do that, then every loss that I'm taking, if I'm on a losing streak, every loss is smaller, right? But even with the 1% risk profile, it would take me 8 to 9 trades in total using this method to reach, I think it's like that 8% or something, an 8% drawdown. But this isn't accounting for the daily drawdown, and I don't account for the daily drawdown because I only take 1 to 2 trades a day max. So it's almost impossible for me to reach that drawdown point. But the thing is, right, this is kind of my theory / approach as to how to approach any type of challenge. And that's by drastically minimizing, right, the risk profile per trade, right? And if you're on a losing streak, then not only is it going to be less in terms if you keep the same percentage, but if you lower the percentage as you're losing as well, then it now becomes very, very, very hard to lose the account, right? And if you're losing 60 trades, even 40 trades, right, to lose an account, then something is wrong, right? You got to go back to the drawing board. Something is wrong. We have to see what's up, okay? And I'll come back to that point. But the issue, right, is it really just depends on how the drawdown works for that specified prop firm. Is it balance based? Is it balance and equity based? Right? So let's say, because some prop firms, like, this is why I don't do any of the any of the one-step challenges. They kind of do this this trailing drawdown, if that makes sense. Meaning that if you go up 7%, then you can't lose more than 4% of that, right? So if I'm up 7%, then I lose 4%, then I lose the account, even if I am 3% in profit, right? So I think that's kind of bullshit. So I don't do any of the one-step challenges. The one-step, bro, a lot of prop firms have one-step challenges. There's 1-step, 2-step, 3-step, right? And 3-step, I just don't think that's worth it. I think 2-step is the best, and I think the 100K is a good it's the best in terms of value, in terms of how much money you get per dollar spent. Yeah, challenge, no verification. Yeah, exactly. Right, and the 1-steps are actually more expensive than the 2-step in terms of value. So for me, the best account has to be the 100K, maybe the 200K, but if you're starting out, definitely try out the 10K accounts, bro. A lot of these 10K accounts are like under $100, and I'm like, that's great, man, because any type of payout from that, you know, it's solid RR. And if I'm only having to risk, because your risk here is the amount that you're paying for the challenge, correct? So if I'm only having to risk 60, 70, 80 bucks to try to get $10,000 in funding, then hey man, it's worth it. But in terms of value, right, the 100K is much better, because the 100K it depends obviously on the prop, but it could cost anywhere from $400 to $500, whereas a 10K challenge can cost $60 to $70. So if you were to multiply that, then that's 600 to 700. So obviously the 100K has more value per se, right? However, the biggest things, right, when it comes to what I'm looking at here is I'm going to be strict with this aspect, but this aspect really just varies. This really just varies on the prop firm challenge, and how their drawdown system works, because I don't want to up my risk so that I can then lose the account based on drawdown that's or based on a trailing drawdown, if that makes sense. So for the most part, this you guys can edit, especially this 1.5 is it's kind of a lot, if I'm being honest. I kind of just did it just because of ratios. But for the most part, I will be very, very strict with that side of it. If I'm technically losing trades, then I want to lose as less as possible, because once I start getting on a win streak, right? Because majority of the trades, especially from a scalp intraday POV, they're minimum a 1 to 4, right? So minimum 1 to 4. So if you can even get 1, 2, or 3 1 to 4s in a row, then honestly, it makes it kind of hard to lose the challenge. But yeah, especially with the no time limit. But that's the only reason, right? But here are the biggest things, right? Your prop firm checklist. Right, so let me ask you guys, what do you guys think is the most important thing of a prop fund? What are the most important characteristics, benefits, whatever? What are the most important things? Well, outside of being paid out, outside of that.
Leverage.
Oh, that. Wow, I'm stupid. Okay.
I would say the leverage.
Okay, leverage is 1. Yep, leverage is 1. If you have a 1 to 100, I think that's fine. But if you have like a 1 to 30, I've never actually traded a 1 to 30. Have you traded a 1 to 30? Is that knock? That's
Yeah, it's me. I'm leverage that like having a 200K because right we say sometimes you're essentially having 20,000 you're really using, but if you had 20,000 and use that 1% of that's not 2,000.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
really 200.
Yeah, it really just depends too on how you're doing your risk. That's kind of why I'm doing the 0.25% risk of 100K. But realistically, you could also take the other approach of how you stated, with, let's say, if you have a 10K total drawdown that you have, then you can have technically a 10K account. So you could take lot sizes based on 10K. But that means that the only way to pass the account is if you make 100% back, which is difficult. Like very, very difficult. So yeah, I agree with the leverage, but that's not the one I'm looking for. Risk reward, no. Bingo, spread and execution. If my spread is shit, then honestly, it could ruin a lot of the risk reward. If there's any type of slippage, then you can lose the account, right? Etc. 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 So spread is a big one, and the execution is also a big one, right? If I'm not being put in on the price that I am buying at, then that ruins also a lot of the risk to reward, etc., etc. So the a fix to this is that you have to be conservative. You have to be conservative with your invalidation points. You have to be conservative, just in general, right? Especially with your entries. You want to make sure that you're entering the trade. You don't want to be perfect with the trade, and you want to make sure that your invalidation points are in place. You don't want to just try to maximize the ROR, because at the end of the day, with prop firms, you just want to win trades. That's it. If you win trades, you're fine, right? So spread and execution are probably the biggest things, and obviously reputation, that falls under being paid out. Right now, I'm only going to take 2 challenges, which is FTMO and Smart Prop. But I've heard really good things from Funded Pips. I've heard really good things from Vibers. The Funded Trader, I'm not into the influencer type of I think influencers run TFT unless I'm mistaken, but I don't like that. And then also somebody else brought up a good point to me, is that if a prop is always doing discounts, then nah, stay away. If they're always doing discounts, then there's a reason for that. So right now I would only really go with the props that have been around for a couple of years, because at the end of the day, even if you can save money on one prop, the money you're saving isn't worth the risk of the entire account. If I'm being honest, saving 50, 60 bucks on a 100K challenge, $100 on a 100K challenge, it's not worth the entire investment, right? Which is 400 bucks or 500 bucks on a 100K account. Yeah, so FTMO, Fivers has been around for a while. I heard Fivers has very good spread. I know a couple. Is Hugo in here? Yeah, Hugo's in here. He uses Funded Pips. How do you like funded pips, bro? If you can hear me. Oh yes, that's actually something I haven't looked into. Is where the prop firm is based. So smart prop trade smart prop trader is based out of the U.S. All right, FTMO is also based. Where is actually FTMO based out of? I don't know where FTMO is. Funded Engineers Dubai based. Okay, but yeah, I heard funding pips is good with the spreads, and they have that. Don't they have that incentive where if you pass the challenge, you make like a profit split of the challenges or something like that? Okay, let's look this up. Oh, that's not in funding pips. Okay, that's something else. Sorry about that. Sorry. Okay, Czech Republic. Yeah, yeah. Actually, that's right. They are based out of Czech Republic because if you reach the top of the top at FTMO and you want to get a salary, then I think they make you go live in Czech Republic or something like that.
Yeah, that's that quantum.
Yeah, the
What would they
quantum.
call that base thing?
I mean, that's a cool idea, man. The fact that they're even advertising that is very impressive. You're from Czech, by the way. How's regulation over there, bro? How are the laws over there? How's regulation and stuff like that? Would you say it's secure? Would you say it's secure or?
You said, can you be more specific, sir?
Okay. So since Chris brought this up, Chris, what do you mean exactly by where the prop firm is based? Do you mean like if they're based out of, let's say, Cayman Islands or something, then they would not be legit? Or what exactly are you referring to? Okay, they're under EU laws. Okay. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I'm honestly not informed on European laws. Hmm. Okay. I see what you mean. Okay. Yeah. So for the most part, um, when it comes to your prop firms, minimize the risk, but keep the risk consistent. Right. The point of the challenge is not to. For me, it's not to make that 8 to 10%. It's to make sure that I don't lose a bunch of trades and that I don't lose the account, right? I just want to make sure that my investment is in play and I want to make sure that I'm in the game for as long as possible, right? Because at the end of the day, we want to survive and then we want to grow and grow and grow. Depending on the country, Cyprus is not as safe as Germany and France in terms of laws and safety. Okay, makes sense. And as far as the comments, I do have them recorded. They should be on the screen if you guys want to watch the recording later. Um, yeah, so that's that with prop firms. The main thing: where are they based? How reputable are they? How is the execution time? Is there any slippage? And how are the spreads? Right? The pricing, whatever. Right? Pricing doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, you're getting a bargain for 100K on paper, quote unquote. Right? And then also, the reason why you want to be very conservative with the approach is I saw this podcast, but I think it was the TFT CEO. I think it was, and pretty much what he said is something along the lines of the first phase is 100% a demo account, I think, whereas then the second phase it's actually like a I don't want to say it's rigged, but it's supposed like the coding on those phase 2 accounts and on the live accounts, they're meant to mimic a real environment, right? That's why slippage occurs even if there's a demo account, right? So just make sure you look into how the slippage or how the slippage is on those brokers, especially with what type of lot sizes. But you know, a good way to evade that as well is if you keep your risk very, very small, right? Smaller risk, smaller lots, smaller volume to put into the market, less slippage, right? Up with the news rule with 1 to 100. Yeah, I actually need to, I'm going to refreshen up on all of the rules before I start trading the accounts. The two main things that I want to look into is the news trading and the drawdown rules. Oh, I wouldn't trade. I don't trade news, bro. I don't trade news at all. I stay away for the most part. It's not worth it. I mean, hey, if you're trying to flip an account, fuck it. I mean, that's your risk, but that's not my cup of tea. Yeah, and then in terms of lot sizing, my calculator, for example, okay, let's say, right, it only works if your pair ends in USD. That's like my equation here will not work for, let's say, USD CAD or AUD CAD or Euro CAD or Euro NZD, you know, anything like that. It only works for XXX USD. But either way, this isn't for you to use. Like I said, this is just something to reference, right? This must be on your computer at all times before you trade. Why? Because I don't want to be in an M2, M3 trade where my execution is about to hit and I don't know what lot size to use, right? If I already have, okay, if I have a 7 pip stop, okay, this is the lot size I'm going to use. It's on standby and I'm ready to go, right? I want this, I want you guys to have something like this at all times. Therefore, this should be part of your prep, all right? Your prep for me should just be to wake up. Well, it depends where you're living, obviously, but for me, it's to wake up, have my SO quantities in place, right? Have my risk management in place, and now I can start trading. Now I can start looking into things, right? Just want to make life as easy as possible. And I ended at 25 because honestly, most of my stops don't even go beyond like 10, 11. But if you have a higher stop loss than 25, then just keep adding as you go, right? I'm not gonna say that if you have a SL above 25 pips, then something is wrong. I'm not going to say that because there's not enough context, right? Because like I said, you could be trading a daily model and that could be a 50 pip stop, right? And a 200 pip TP, you know what I mean? So take it as you go, but make sure you have something like this on standby. And next, quarterly report. Okay. So the quarterly report is, right, it's kind of going to be like an add-on to your journal, right? The point of the journaling, right, is for you to learn how to win a trade. That's the point of the journaling. We want to learn how to win our trades. Point of the quarterly reports, right, is to fix the details over time, right? What days are the worst for me, right? What pairs are the worst for me, right? Should I be trading this pair at this time? Right? What is my average risk to reward? What is my average return? Right? What's my win rate? Right? How is my I'll get back to the internal external bias. I think Adrian it's Adrian in here, Adrian Nazad from Czech Republic. Is that you? Yes. Do you mind if I show our DM conversation from yesterday? Okay, cool. I'll come back to that. But yeah, what sessions are working the most for me? What pairs work the most for me? What days work the most for me? right? We're trying to acquire data, right? That's the whole point. So every quarter, right, you guys can send me this, and I will point out what I think is going wrong with you. And if you want to go into details, then we can get, you know, a one-on-one call, because that'll be a lot of data, right? So if you guys want to go in depth with it, then I will have to ask you to do a one-on-one. But if you guys just want like an overview, it's just like, hey, these are the points that I see that you need to work on. Let me know how this goes for the next quarter. Keep sending me journals, right? So that's kind of the expectation here. I also make some more templates. If you guys have ideas for templates, let me know, and I can just write them up. I can write them up real quick and send it over. Documents, recommended zooms. I'm actually going to put my personal markups. I'll be throwing these in here as they come. The teacher markups. If you guys feel as if an entry is not detailed enough, just let me know. Like I said, is there a journal template? You see, there we go. All right, someone's trying to rile me up, man. Have to go watch a recording after. Okay, bro, take care. Brother, just please, for the love of God, read what I have on here. Everything is already in place. I have literally 10 examples. And I have a criteria, so. Next. Personal markups, teacher markups. Like I said with this, if there is a mistake here, if you guys think that maybe the charts aren't detailed enough or you don't get what you're seeing, just let me know, and I'll have the teachers make some edits, add some notes, whatever. Right, and then YouTube gems. I haven't gotten to this, but I actually consume a lot of content on YouTube, but I'm gonna make it like all trading now. So if I have anything to show you guys there, I will show you guys. Health info. This is previous Zoom. This, right? Thank you, Sokol, for the for this. I actually added this to my library, so I'll be listening to that later. So yeah, I think that's it. And we will come back to that. I think that's it for that. But let me open up something before I. Right, there is something with regards to the something in regards to the quarterly report template. Let me just open up this conversation. Okay, so this is a really good question. If I keep getting really good questions, I will maybe create like an FAQ and go from there. Only one to. Okay, I think I got it. So I got a really good question yesterday. Hopefully you guys could read this. But pretty much, as the question states, is what types of time frames or what types of structural levels should you be looking to based on the trades that you're looking for. So the biggest thing is it depends on what kind of trade you're looking for. If you're looking for a swing trade, then if you're looking for your positions in a swing bias, then I really only pay attention to the macro, right, or the position POV and the intraday views. And intraday is obviously categorized into two, the minor and the major. I do that just because it's the most broad, but it won't really matter what the scalp is doing if you're looking for a swing trade. If you're looking for a scalp, okay, now I'm only paying attention to the micro and my intraday levels, right? It doesn't really, right? The only thing that I would look for in a swing when I'm technically scalping is my POIs, right? If there is like a very big POI, right? But more than likely, right, I don't really use much of my swing or my position biases influence, right, my scalp and my minor intraday, right? Just because I only want to keep it to 3 to 4 levels of structure max, right? Just because those are mainly the ones that are being influenced when it comes to that type of trade. So establish what kind of trades you're looking for and really only focus on the structural level above and the structural level below, right? So if you're looking for an intraday trade, okay, I'm paying attention to my scalp, paying attention to my major, maybe my swing, right? The position won't really help you out much if you're looking for a short-term intraday trade. All right, so this is a good question. I just wanted to show you guys. But yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, bro, you're fine. Just make sure you read through everything. There's no rush. All right, read through everything. It'll only take you like 20 minutes. And I'm sure you'll find all the answers you seek. And if you don't, okay, let me know. Text me. I answer all my DMs within I want to say 24 hours, but honestly it's mainly within 12. Within 6 even. But if you're texting me during New York, I'm more than likely going to open your message. But yeah, that concludes that. Right, so I hope these templates work out for you guys. Like I said, if you guys want me to add more templates, cool. But other than that, I think that's all I have to cover. Discord has been covered, the website has been covered, the templates have been covered. I don't know if you guys have any charts you guys have been looking. I don't know if you guys are already trading. But yeah, if you guys have any case studies you want to go over real quick, we can do that. If not, I'll probably wrap this up. Oh, and if you want to use the template, literally just copy it and paste it on another Google Sheet or something, right? If you want to play with it, you could. I'm pretty sure you can just copy paste it. Okay, you can save as a copy, or you can duplicate it. Maybe I don't. I'm sure you guys can figure it out. It'll be fine. And save as a copy on file. Cool. Cool. So I'll sit here for another couple minutes, see if you guys have any questions, anything you guys want to go over. If not, I'll probably just wrap it up. then I guess we can go ahead and wrap this up. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I guess we can wrap this up.